When I was training to be a journalist in the early 1980s, part of my self training was reading copies of the Baseball Almanac. And I remember greatly reading the 1981 version because that was on sale at the local Kohl's. I think I got it for $3. That's now part of the Indigo print in Canada. And George Brett was on the cover. But in the inside, I used to read it like an encyclopedia. When people study words in encyclopedia to improve their word power. And this guy really stood out like a sore thumb for his very interesting 1980 season. I couldn't believe it because his stats before that was good for stolen bases, but he wasn't like a really good hitter for average or power or anything. But when Miguel Dilone broke through in the 1980 season, the native of Santiago, Dominican Republic, became a household name and was on This Week in Baseball on a regular basis. Now, the player from the DR was a switch hitting outfielder. He played 12 seasons with the Pirates, Athletics, Cubs, Indians, White Sox, the Expos, which were almost wrapped up his career, and the San Diego Padres. Now, he first came to major prominence, for me at least. According to my father, he told me about him when he was playing for the DR at the 71 Pan American Games and quickly became a hot prospect. A lot of people felt he might have been a possible Blue Jay in the early part of that franchise, but found his way to Cleveland. Now, he began his career as a September call-up in 1974 at the age of 19. He was primarily as a pinch runner with the Pirates. He had 21 stolen bases in 4 seasons with the Bucks, but in 78 he was traded to the A's along with Elias Sosa, the future Expo, and Mike Edwards for, get this, Manny Sanguillen. He stole 56 bases during 2 years at Oakland, mostly as a pinch runner and late inning replacement. Now, after splitting his 79 season between the A's and the Cubs, he landed in with the Indians in 1980, where he had the best year of his career. Now, this is numbers beyond the pale. He batted .341 with 180 hits, 30 doubles, 9 triples, and 61 stolen bases. Now, during his 4 years total with the Indians, he stole 128 bases, hitting .289. Now, toward the end of the 83 campaign, the Indians traded him to the White Sox for Rich Barnes, who 7 days later traded him back to the Pirates for Randy Neiman, not Randy Newman, of course. After finishing the 83 campaign with the Pirates, he signed with the Montreal Expos as a free agent. He played the 84 season and part of 85 with the Expos before being released and signing with the Padres to finish up the campaign in his major league career. Now, he finished his career with an impressive 267 stolen bases, getting caught stealing 78 times, with a batting average of .285 and OPS of .648. In exactly 2,000 career at-bats, he had 530 hits, 67 doubles, 25 triples, 6 home runs, and 129 RBIs. He finished in the top 10 in these leagues in stolen bases 4 times during his career. Now, in 2009, he made the news again when word came around that he lost an eye when a baseball struck him in the face. At the time, he's coaching his son and a 15-year-old prospect. Now, ironically, his 259 stolen bases leaves him in the top 200 for that category, and that's a prestigious amount of people. So if you look at these rough stats, ladies and gentlemen, they're quite impressive for what he didn't do before he had a big year and what he did afterwards. Now, we're talking 74, 75, 76, and 77 with the Pirates. The most games he played in the season were 29, but he did have enough stealing prowess to get 21 stolen bases in less than 100 games. Now, in 78, with Oakland, the big season, 14 RBIs, 50 stolen bases, but caught stealing 23 times. Now, he had a .229 average. Of course, it was the Oakland team that was rebuilt after Charlie Finley had the fire sales in 75 and 76. Now, 79, the combination season with Oakland and Chicago, 1 home run, 7 RBIs total, 21 stolen bases. So this guy had played, ladies and gentlemen, 73 total games that year with 7 stolen bases and hit .220. Now, 1980, now this it's like beyond the pale. Either he was corking his bat or something was going on. The statistics are just tremendous. In 132 games, 528 at bats, 82 runs scored, 30 doubles, 9 triples, 40 RBIs, 61 stolen bases. So he was a 40-60 man, which means 40 RBIs and 60 stolen bases. Now, only struck out 45 times that year with 28. Now, the statistics have been revised. Some people say 340, people say 341. But he had an OPS plus of 120. Now, 81 with Cleveland in that shortened season, 19 RBIs, but he hit 290. Now, 83, combination year between the White Sox and Cleveland. Again, he was back to his less than 10 RBI season, despite playing, ladies and gentlemen, 43 games. Now, when he played with Montreal in 84, a decent season, again, he stole 27 bases on the Expos, batting 278 with 1 home run and 10 RBIs. So it's like it was weird stats because statistically hitting 265 in his career, only having 129 runs batted in over 20, almost 2,200 games. You do the rough math. Statistically in a season, he played a 162 game season, he would batted 265 with 26 RBIs and 54 runs scored. So you're looking at a National League style leadoff player. And ironically, ladies and gentlemen, the 12 years he played Major League Baseball, he was playing with the majority of the teams that are either light hitting or didn't have any strong power. But his fielding was quite strong. For his career, he was .975. Mostly in the outfield, of course. Did some DHing as well. Played some third base with Oakland. But that experiment didn't last. So no wonder the Expos took him, because the Expos were always looking for a good defensive outfielder or platoon player could steal a lot of bases. So I want you to take a quick look at that season with Montreal, and there's a reason here, ladies and gentlemen, just to put it together. That year, the Expos were 84-77. He finished in third place. They had a really, really good squad that year. Timmy Raines, Tim Wallach, Andre Dawson was still there. This was after the Carter trade. Now, Raines that year had 70 stolen bases. Herm Whittingham had 20. And Dilone had a strong season as well. Excuse me, that season he had 7 stolen bases. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Mitch Webster had 15. So between Raines, Whittingham, Dawson, Webster, and Dilone, it was well, like I said, put together. So sorry, let me check that again. I'm giving the wrong stats here. Sorry, 7 stolen bases in 85, but excuse me, 27 and 84. My apologies. So 84 season, that team was 5th place, and I'm just giving an example of why he picked them up. That year, Raines had 75 stolen bases, Dawson had 13, Dilone had 27. So that was the main tree. So he was there for a reason, basically, to augment the outfield, which had Wolford, Raines, and Dawson. Pete Rose was there for a little while. And Mike Stenhouse, of course, played a little bit in the outfield. Max Venable over from the Reds. Roy Johnson as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, a very interesting career. Now, not to say he was as expected, but they knew what they were getting with him. If he can bat like 270, get about 25 RBIs, 20 to 30 stolen bases, a good defensive player. But like I said, anytime he played leadoff, you needed somebody, a 2 and 3 and 4 hitter could knock him in. And the years he did play again in Major League Baseball, there was a lot of situations. Like I look at those numbers in the early 80s, 82, 33, and 50 runs scored. But even with the Expos, he wasn't scoring many runs. He was getting a lot of stolen bases. Give an example. In 84, he had 27 stolen bases, and only 28 runs scored. So, he was getting on base in an opportune time. Probably his game was like a 1 for 3 with a stolen base off a single. So, but I know for a fact, ladies and gentlemen, that that Cleveland team in 1980, they had some pop. That's when Dave Garcia was running the team that year, and the that was the Joe Charbonneau season as well. But that was a speed team as well because Toby Hare and Rick Manning could steal the occasional base. So did Alan Bannister. That was a very balanced team. Good pitching, good pitching staff as well because Lenny Barker was there, Rick Waits and Dan Spillner, and John Denny, of course, almost won 10 games as well with a good, like I said, a good core of veteran and rookie players as backups. So again, if you have the baseball almanacs from the 80s, if you're looking at that 340 and wonder what happened, this is the story. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be doing a lot of features on the what do you call the second rung expos. We did Terry Francona today, so keep an eye. Maybe your favorite expo will show up because Montreal had a lot of interesting players in the lineup in the late 70s, early 80s. Dan Dreesen, Grenchicki, former Reds, former Kansas City Royals. We're going to talk about that. We already talked about UL Washington, of course. He's short tenure in Montreal. God bless him. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Cleveland Indians fan, this is for you. I love the Cleveland team in the late 70s, early 80s because you never know we're going to have a big game. That AL East back then, ladies and gentlemen, it was a rough go. All the teams there, it was dog eat dog from April to early October. It was tremendous. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the Stanley Cup playoffs, and please come back because we're going to be doing some new features next week. Don't forget Thursday night Twilight Zone reviews, and we're probably going to be doing some capsulization of key movies from the late 1970s that should have been nominated for Oscars but weren't. Thanks for listening. Bye.